Welcome back, APDL. We are here for some semifinals action against good old friend, former esports coach, and all-around good buddy, Coach Josh Jkkayy of the Goldenrod City Goomys. Now, we have a big test in front of us for this game because Josh, fun little fact, has gone this season undefeated. He has secured himself the #1 power ranking seed and overall standing seed through this league. So we have a bit of work cut out for us. Super exciting that we get to play him, as the differing divisions were, we only got to play 5 games. So it's really cool when you get to face up against different opponents in playoffs. So it honestly, I was looking forward to this one for a while. But Josh he's such a good coach and team builder. Like, he knows his outs. He plays super slow and methodical in terms of what he needs to do to win. He's very careful, and there's not a lot that you can do in order to sneak one past him. So you have to really think outside the box in order to really get past him. And it shows, because he is undefeated for a reason. He was the second APDL champion to ever exist, and so there's a reason this guy is a former champ. So the Goomys, we're gonna go into team builder here and go into what I brought against this juggernaut of a team in order to see if we stand a chance. So let's hop right in. So this team is a little bit interesting. I'm just going to talk a little bit and just break down why I brought what I brought, just in terms of Josh's overall team. Looking at his past videos, his past Poké Pace, Josh has a super bulky team. It has very slow speed, but he likes to max HP almost everything he brings. And so it's not a matter of fact that the speed control game is not as important against Josh, because most of his stuff can take a hit. Grimer has Eviolite that you can't knock off. Rhyhorn is massive. Execute's massive. They're all so bulky. Pancham is super scary. That thing is nuts. And to be honest, probably the one Pokemon I focused in on was Natu. His Natu it's such a good pick. Its typing, Flying Psychic, is unbelievable. Its move coverage is so good, and the magic bounce in itself is just screens, U-turn. It's such a steal for a tier 3 pick. So I was focusing a lot on Natu just because his team overall has only 2 fast Pokemon, with being Natu and Tentacool at base 70 speed. So I needed to work around those being the fastest threats on the team. And then from there, it was just a matter of seeing what I could do, because I probably wasn't winning the defensive game against him. So I had to think of something. And that's where our first Pokemon, Sir Squishy, comes in. Now, looking at his team, I looked at Natu. That thing sucks to play against. So we basically had to avoid Natu with Sir Squishy, just because what we're bringing, max HP, split defenses with an Eviolite, and then just 4 points of speed to outspeed Rhyhorn, Grimer, or anything that doesn't have speed in it. So just that nice little extra point. And we're going Spikes, Yawn, Recover, and Infestation. Now, it's a little bit of like this whole job of this was to set up spikes, because looking at his team, besides the magic bounce, his Tentacool is the only thing that can get rid of hazards. That's the only rapid spinner. That's it. Natu doesn't learn defog. Nothing else can get rid of hazards. And the fact that his team is so bulky, all my damage rolls were like 60 to, like, I needed to do chip damage. And so I had to ensure that I had spikes up. So the only way I'm going to be able to get spikes up reliably is to trap them, is trap Pokemon. And then if I'm up against the rapid spinning Tentacool, or if I'm up against Grimer, I wasn't going to be able to use Toxic to wear them down. So I figured Yawn would be a pretty decent pick, just because I could trap them, Yawn them, and then if I need to, I can recover in the turns, I can sleep while I can set up spikes while they're asleep. And honestly, it's kind of a decent little combination here. So pretty proud of this set. Sir Squishy has its one job. It's to set up spikes, slowly wear things down. And then once it's up, he just tanks hits, slowly wears them down with Infestation, and then if I want, I can then switch because of a Yawn, and then they're trapped, and then that gives me priority for something to set up. So that's our Shelmet for the week. After that, we have our, to the right, Prince Hippo. Prince Hippo, we're running like a similar set that we've ran in the past against Alex. And we're going Weakness Policy Trick Room. We have max HP and max special attack. This thing is bulky enough to take any hit. Again, I was looking mainly for like max attack, life orb, Natu with a Giga Drain could not kill this thing. I was making sure that I could survive a knockoff, which would proc the weakness policy from Pancham, anything like that. Any type of Mega Horn from Rhyhorn, it lives. So the trick is to get the Trick Room, hopefully bait them in. You know, I've done this in the past with E-Dahl. I love doing this type of like speed boost into free stats with weakness policy, and then we just have some coverage moves just in case things don't go well. We have Scald for the burn chance instead of just Surf, and then Signal Beam for the execute, because that thing I wanted to make sure I had an answer for that, as well as like it's good against the Nickit, which I thought he would potentially bring. And Psyshock, because if I'm up in a 1v1 against the Jellyfish, Tentacool, or Pancham, you know, I'm figuring they might have some special investment, but Tentacool's special or regular defense is so bad, so this thing would definitely one hit that. So that's the reasoning for bringing Psyshock. And yeah, that's Prince Hippo. So honestly, set up Trick Room, and it can pair in nicely with our next Pokemon, which is Ole. Now, Cufant, we're running an Assault Vest. This was like a last minute bring, not like, I didn't really know what to do against his team, just because most of his stuff just hits so hard. So I figured I needed a special wall for the Natu and the Tentacool, and everything else just kind of tickles this thing on the special side. So wanted to make sure I had some sort of poison immunity, because I have a feeling he's going to try and over prepare for Cottony, just because I make sure that that's kind of like a identity of mine, is to bring just cheeky grass type prankster Cottony, but not this time. So we're going Iron Head just for some good stab, Rock Slide for the Natu, Play Rough for Nickit and the Pancham, and then High Horsepower for Grimer, Tentacool, and Growlithe if he brings it. So just overall decent coverage, and I put 28 points of speed in just to make sure that if Pancham did not have any speed whatsoever, I would be faster than it. So that's the EVs there. Dane Cook Jr., the next person on the list. We're not scarfing it because if he scarfs one of his base 70s Pokemon, we would just end up speed tying. So I figured I would try and go for the Agility Focus Sash set. If we Agility at max speed, even with Modest Nature, we're actually faster than a +2 Dragon Dance Axew. And we're faster than anything on his team, even if it's scarfed after an Agility boost. So this is probably the lead, just because I'm not bringing Rapid Spin on Drilbur, just because it's like, although rocks kind of hurt this team a little bit, it's not like he only has like Rhyhorn to set that up, and it's pretty obvious when it comes out. So basically, if I have this Dane Cook Jr. out right away, I can hopefully just set up some speed and, you know, catch him off guard a little bit. So we have Thunderbolt, Surf, and Hidden Power Ice. So yeah, the reasoning I can't go into Scarf is because I don't want to be locked into an electric move against, say, a Natu, and then he just switches into like Rhyhorn, and then I'm forced to switch out, and then if that thing's like Choice Bandit or something, like something dies. So I couldn't do that this week. So that's the reason why we have the Focus Sash. So that's Dane Cook Jr. Just pretty standard EVs, max special attacks, max speed. Next is Dilbert, our Drilbur. Different set here. Again, we needed to have the spikes, but everything on his team, again, is just so bulky. And so after 16 points of speed, if we get a Slackberry proc, we outspeed a max speed natured Tentacool or Natu by a point. So that is the reasoning there. Everything else is just diverted to HP, and as well diverted to special defense. So we can actually live a modest natured Natu with Life Orb, Giga Drain, and that won't be able to kill us. So we have Sword Stance because Josh doesn't particularly run Haze, at least, or like any type of stats. So like we're probably pretty reliable to set up Sword Stance, and after one Sword Stance, Drilbur can easily tear through everything on his team with these next three moves. Shadow Claw for the Natu, and or if he wants to switch into Execute. Earthquake hits everything except Execute. It's a very good coverage move against his team. And then Egg Scissor specifically for the Execute, just because that thing is a defensive juggernaut. So that is Dilbert. And then last but not least, we decided on bringing Swagby, the Magby. And this is just we've seen Noah do it, having a choice scarf, just making sure that we have the fastest option at our disposal. With 244 speed, this thing will outspeed a scarfed anything on his team. And so with Mach Punch, in case there's some priority issues against a Axew that gets out of control with Dragon Dances, or yeah, it's nice to have Mach Punch. And then Dual Chop again for the Axew. I was really hoping he didn't bring it, just because I wasn't bringing Cottony, so that thing could have teared through my team, I'm pretty sure. And then Flare Blitz, just because it's my main stab move, does a lot of damage. And then Thunder Punch for the Natu, Tentacool, and everything there. So yeah, that is the team. I'm pretty happy with this team. It's a little bit different than what I usually run, just because it's like a little, it all kind of depends on Shelmet, just because we need those hazards, and we're trying so hard just to set up and just whittle him down. Like, we have a lot of offense this week, just because of how defensive his team is. We just need to be able to make sure everything and anything on our team can attack. And so the more chip damage that we get from Sir Squishy and, you know, Cufant just wearing them down, the more we have time to set up with Dane Cook Jr., Drilbur, or Prince Hippo. And then after that, we just clean up with Swagby. So that's the main game plan here. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop in to the game. So Jkkayy versus the Sauce Boss. Now we have Pancham, Execute, Rhyhorn, Grimer, Tentacool, and Natu. I was maybe expecting the Nickit, but again, you know, we're planning for everything. If I was to say what type of team he'd bring, this is probably like the team. So we have some good answers, I'm pretty sure. So we're just gonna start off with Helioptile, just in case he wants to start off with Natu or Rhyhorn as he has in the past. So if it's Rhyhorn, we can just surf twice, destroy him, or if it's Natu, we can hopefully start setting up agility. So here we go. So I send out Helioptile and he sends out Pancham. This is the worst case scenario, because I honestly forget that Helioptile is a normal type sometimes. So looking at this, one Drain Punch just destroys me. So even if I get off an agility, it doesn't really matter. If I get off a hit, it's not gonna kill him, it's gonna tickle him, and then he just regains all his health with Drain Punch. So there's no chance I can stick in. So this took me a little bit to decide, but I ultimately swap into Shelmet, and he Drain Punches. So he swaps. The fact that he swaps makes me know that he's choiced, just because I expected him to go immediately for a knockoff or a Fire Punch. So that's some very good information. Esmeralda comes out, and this is my nightmare, because I was fearing that this would be an offensive Natu. And if it was just gonna air slash me to death, I would hate my life. So we got off an infestation, which we wanted to against the Pancham, but turns out it screens, which is awesome in a sense, because now he's able to kind of U-turn, and it's basically all up to him what he wants to do. So the fact that he's going into Eggs Benedict is a little interesting, just because I have Overcoat. So if he wants to use Sleep Powder, he can't really touch me, and I like even Hidden Power Fire, he can't touch me. So this was a little bit interesting. I was kind of concerned he was going to go straight into Rhyhorn, and that would have sucked. So I get off an infestation, and that does really good damage. So we can tell that he has no special defense at all, which is nice. So that's kind of good to know. And already he's down to like almost half health because of one infestation, which is kind of nuts. So he gets off a Leech Seed, and then I get off the On, and this is where the strat kind of comes into play, which is awesome. He hits me with a Sludge Bomb, and just telling by his moves, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have anything that can kill me. So this just gives me free reign to set up spikes, which is the game plan. So he's able to get Sludge Bombs. Luckily, we're not taking poisons, which is like very good, but I mean, we could still probably stall this thing out just with recovers and stuff. So he protects, he reads the infestation. I'm trying to trap him in as long as I can, because I'm honestly winning this stall. And in comes the Jelly. Now, I knew as soon as the infestation wore off, he was going to switch into Jellyfish. I didn't know, however, like 100%. So I was thinking of going straight into Drilbur, but at this point, I was scared in case he wanted to fire off a Giga Drain, and that would completely turn the tide, because he would just gain all his health back. I would then just be at his mercy, and it was not a good play. So I just took the safe option, went to Cufant in case he wanted to Sludge Bomb me, or yeah. And then, but we have the coverage for Jellyfish. So I know he's going to rapid spin, or at least I think so. He gets the burn off a Scald, which... Okay, it makes up for the lack of poison on Sludge Bomb. So he got his luck there. So Ole is basically useless. And so I know he has to rapid spin. So I just challenge him. I say, okay, if you want to stay in, that's fine. I'm going to high horsepower. And then he kills himself with his life orb here and rapid spins away the spikes. So in comes Pancham. And he fire punches and down goes Ole. I'm not gonna, like, he's burned. And since Tentacool was one of the main special attackers, his whole purpose of being the special wall is down. And now that I know that Natu is not a special attacking threat, his purpose is done. Like, Ole doesn't really do anything. And so we know that the Pancham is probably choiced, I think. Like, pretty good indicator. But in case he wasn't, we're still going to go in with Slowpoke and try and set up the Trick Room. So Trick Room comes out. Esmeralda comes out, does decent damage. And in comes Grimer. Eats that up. No burn. That's okay. And we could not stay in against that thing. It was just, we could tell it was a special wall. So we just go back out into Sir Squishy and we can take this thing just because we know it doesn't have access to knockoff. So we're fine. So at this point we can just infest anything that comes in. Again, we have to be very careful of the Natu just because of the magic bounce. And he gets up his last screen and he goes down. So now I have like completely free reign to set up spikes and send out yawns whenever without having it backfire, which is awesome. So I get off a yawn right away because I know this thing will probably want to stay in. And I know I'm faster because of the 1 point, but he gets up Stealth Rocks, which is interesting and a good play on his part just because my team's kind of sucks against it. Pancham comes in, I get the infestation, and he gets the knockoff, which is very good. But now I can tell after he is scarfed or something, choiced in some manner. And this is awesome because now I'm just able to set up spikes. And this is great because that Grimer is going to be a very tanky person to get through. And yeah, Jack Black is just at Shelmet's mercy. I know he's going to switch, so I get the immediate yawn off. He gets the Stone Edge. We live. We're able to recover. Life's good. So Shelmet is just carrying this game so far. Sir Squishy, we're able to get back up to full health. Infestation doing so much work just because 1/8 of his health is massive since Josh loves to run the defensive max HP game. But we die to the Stone Edge, so the crit, it does have a high crit chance, so it kind of made me mad, but no Eviolite, and he got destroyed, so yeah. Shelmet did pretty well. So I decide after a while just to go straight into the Surf to get Rhyhorn out of here. I don't want to take any more damage. And at this point, I don't want to... I know he has Giga Drain, so I don't want to, like, swap into Prince Hippo. I don't want to swap into Drilbur just because it's not the time. Prince Hippo is just going to die because this thing's a special wall. And then Drilbur, I need him for later. Magby as well, you take too much damage. So at this point, we just spam click Thunderbolt just because we know that we need to get as much damage off as we can since this thing has no reliable recovery. And then we can just go in with Drilbur and press Earthquake. So Goop is down, Execute comes out. Little does he know we have X-Scissor, so that is some poached eggs, and Jack Black comes out, which, I mean, we have a Scarfed Magby, so at this point, he gets the Drain Punch, get some health back. But that procs our berry and the crit to boot with the earthquake, which I don't think mattered in the end, but it is what it is. So very, very good game overall. So GG's to you, Josh. That was a hell of a season. It was a very, very tight game. You gave me some absolute worries prepping for your team. You have a very, very good draft. So it was a little bit of a nightmare trying to prep for your team. But overall, I think the game plan went pretty smooth after. And yeah, your team's so good. So GG's again. That was a super, super good game. I am looking forward to seeing what the Cinnabar Island Steelix can do for next season in doubles. So that's going to be very, very cool. But yeah, we find ourselves in the grand finals, which is sweet. So we get to face off now against the Commish Arc himself. Now, he's the only person to serve me a loss this season, and that was at the beginning. And now we find that we get to face him for redemption at the end. So he also has a very, very good team. Every time I look up anything on Smogon or whatnot, I look at the description and they're always fresh and full walls of text, because most of his Pokemon he has are just meta-defining, very versatile force, very influential Pokemon in the metagame. Like, he has just almost a dream team when it comes to what he's drafted, and it's no surprise that he's made it this far to the grand finals. So that game is gonna be intense. So that's gonna be happening Friday at 9. So looking forward to that. It's gonna be very, very good. And yeah, so at least with this game, it was very back and forth, but yeah, in the end, I think I'm proud of the fact that I was able to, really expose some of the key weaknesses in just how Jkkayy plays, in terms of how he usually likes to run his teams, and the slow speed, the very bulkiness, the fact that he usually doesn't like to set up, and all of that. I think I played very well to my outs, and so very happy to move on and play against Noah. So GG's again, Josh and Noah. You're going down. You're going down. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I love doing these videos, and yeah, it's a long journey, but we're finally coming close to the end. So thank you for watching, and as always, go Raichu!